Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Reminder to check out my Flow page, which has links to a bunch of free stuff, resources, must-see information you need, proof that I won in court, some of my winning court orders, and my store, which has a rule of evidence video, talks about what's admissible and what's not admissible in court. Everybody needs to know the rules of evidence. If you don't, whether you got an attorney or not, you need to check your attorney on that. And if you're representing yourself, you need to know what's admissible and what's not. Because the other attorney's the other side's gonna pull wool over your eyes, or or do some tricks to allow inadmissible evidence. And then I got packets of winning documents for different categories: defending against restraining orders, doing discovery, interrogatories, questionnaires, things like that. Motion for a temporary parenting plan, defending against contempt, and more. Things that I've won personally, and countless other people have got those packets and won, prevailed, or done better than they did with their attorney after they fired their attorney. So, in this video, I want to talk about when you go to court and you talk to the prosecutor for child support, when you talk to the family law facilitator, when you talk to a clerk, don't ever, ever go to court and then listen to what they say and just do it just because they said so. Stop doing that. If you talk to 10 different clerks at the courthouse and you say, oh, I need to adjust child support, or I need to defend this restraining order, all right, here's a great example. I had a client one time, actually this has happened a few times. They were going to court to vacate a default. The guy lost, or a parenting plan was entered against him, given no visitation or very little visitation by default, because he never answered. He either got served at a wrong address, whatever the last known address was, or he got served, he didn't know what to do, and he's being lazy and shiftless, which happens a lot of times. And then guys don't even pay attention to their court case. They think nothing of it because they're out there screwing 10 different women and got 3 different babies' moms, and you're lazy as a street bum who's never tried to get a job and is out smoking crack, and you don't care about your kids. But now all of a sudden, if you decide you're going to care, then you can go to court and you can do a motion to vacate. So, and I say that stuff to say the reality of the situation is this entire system would change if guys would get off their rear and grow some balls and learn how to fight, or get some help from me or some advocate in your area. I didn't have help like this. And I could talk like this because in 2001, we didn't have the internet accessible like we do now. I had to go to law libraries to do research. I had to go to Kinko's and print out everything and then take it to the courthouse and give the judge a copy, the clerk a copy, the mother's attorney a copy. And you guys get to type stuff up from your bed and turn it into a PDF and e-file it from home. And you're whining and crying how hard it is. You're telling somebody like me, oh, it's so hard. I had a couple consultations, and I said, are you doing this? Are you doing that? No. Are you going to do this? I don't know. It's so hard. Then quit. Stop looking for another way to fight your case than to fight your case. If the other side doesn't agree, you have to fight. It's like anything else in life. If you're trying to go back to school and you can't get any scholarships or financial aid, you have to work while, let's say you're a single dad or single mom and going back to school. You have to work while looking out for your kid and trying to get some help and scramble. That's life. All of a sudden we think life's rules and life's situations and hardships don't apply in family court because we had sex for 5 minutes and produced a baby, and we think custody of the kid should come that fast. Get out of your little fast food drive-through microwave, quickie, TikTok, internet answer to everything in 5 minutes of mentality. Grow some balls and slow down and make up your mind this is going to be a long, slow, drawn-out war. People who were sent off to Germany or Vietnam or Iraq or Afghanistan, anytime we were in a war that got dragged out, they didn't go in there and say, well, expecting to go in and get out in 5 minutes. Grow some balls. So, and if you don't, if you already have a pair, then this doesn't offend you. If you're losing and this hurts your feelings, that it's going to be harder than a microwave dinner, or it's going to be harder than when mommy came and cleaned up after you, or it's going to be harder than the hookup you got to get whatever job you had, that's your fault, dummy. You had kids with a crazy woman. Own it. I did too. I had to own it. all the hell that I went through is worth it for my daughter's sake because I love my daughter. If you don't love your kids and they're not worth you going through and fighting for them, then quit. Don't call me if you're going to call me and whine and cry about how the system sucks. Call me because you're like, I'm totally lost. I don't know what to do. My lawyer's screwing me over. I need some help. I need some insight with the willingness to do it. See, I don't get on here and talk about all this free stuff and free information that you don't even get from your attorney. And then you turn around, watch my videos. And a lot of you turn around and you do whatever your attorney says. You do whatever the clerk says. You do whatever the facilitator says. And then after you guys get royally screwed and you're in a jam that's almost impossible to get out, then you call me. And I told you a year ago, you have to do this stuff the right way. You have to know the law. You have to follow the law. And here you are doing the lazy, shiftless, punk little bitch, bum, lazy, slothful way of doing stuff. Let me just go to the clerk and they'll give me answers and I'll just sign it. And then I'll just, I have people go to the facilitators and the facilitators type stuff up and they just sign it. And you have no idea what you just signed. If you're an actor and actress, or if you do contractual work, like if you do landscaping or if you do construction work, you sign an agreement ahead of time before you engage in the work. But you know what you're doing and you know what that agreement says. For some reason, my stupid, dumb gender thinks that they're just going to fill out some paperwork and not know what the hell they're doing. And they're going to walk into court and somebody's going to magically give them whatever they might have asked for. And then I have people call me up. They talk to the facilitator. They fill out paperwork. By the way, the facilitators aren't supposed to be doing paperwork for you, giving legal advice. If you guys would complain about facilitators give you bad advice, we would clean house of all the corrupt facilitators. But none of you ever do that because you're too lazy and shiftless. I talked in a video about this is how the system's going to work. If people take the information that I got, that I freely gave through blood, sweat, and tears, I obtained this information. I'm freely giving $50,000 worth of information to you guys, and you're not using it. If you guys use this and you applied it in your court case, how to get on the offensive, deal with attorneys, how to respond to attorneys, how to light a fire under your attorney. I'm going to post this on Instagram. I just had a guy text me and said his attorney wasn't doing anything. He demanded the attorney do a deposition. The attorney's like, well, I don't know. He said, you either do a deposition, you're gone this afternoon. And then they went to a deposition, totally destroyed the mother and her credibility. And then they said, and the mother's attorney didn't even know some of the stuff the mother was lying about. They just trusted their client. And so the deposition exposed stuff to the opposing attorney also. I had a guy he was in on a deposition. I prepared him for answers on a deposition. And the mother's attorney was grilling him. And the attorney turned to the mother and said, why aren't you giving this guy, all he wanted, he had cancer. So all he wanted was like every other weekend. He was getting like 2 hours every 2 weeks. Why don't you give this guy? And then they settled because the attorney was appalled that she was just beating him down to the ground. But anyway, this guy, I'm going to post a testimony. He texted me out of the blue. I don't even know who he was or what we talked about. He said, thank you. Because of you, I was able to get everything I asked for. Because at the end of the deposition, the attorney's like, hey, why don't you give us an offer? And this guy's response was, you either settle on whatever he was, 50-50 or whatever. You either settle on 50-50 by the end of the week or we're going to trial. Boom, he got it. That's exactly what I tell you guys to do. And none of you ever do it except for a rare less than 1%. I'm sitting here telling you and showing you this works for people, and you guys don't want to do it because you don't have any balls because you're a fruity little simp and you're whining and crying. It's so hard. You know what's harder? Is not seeing your kids until they're 18. Or the mother controlling and dominating your life because you have no foresight like normal guys with logic and male discernment and male deductive reasoning and male balls. You just like, oh, I want to get this over with. I'm so scared. It hurts my feelings. My baby's mom has been punking me and henpecking me, and I've been whipped the whole time. I just want to give in to her. Where do I sign? And then next thing you know, you're going through all these hoops and stuff, which is more hell to go through than the court case if you would just fight. So when you go to a family law facilitator or a clerk or even an attorney or a judge and they say, you can't do that, you have to do this, follow this procedure. Then you say, like I tell everybody, where's the law on that? Where's the rule on that? Demand to know where the law or rule is. I went to the DMV and they tried to tell me I had to pay this fee. I said, where's the law? They said it's in the law somewhere. I said, you need to tell me where the law is. Don't you? She said, I told you it's in the law. No, you didn't. I need to know what RCW it is. She didn't like that. I had a guy go in and he's trying to vacate a final order, and then he went into the facilitator. The facilitator said, no, you got to do a modification. But a modification is saying the original order is legit. He needs to vacate the original order and wipe it out and start from scratch. So he has a new day in court. The facilitator gave him bad advice, and he didn't demand to know why they said what they said.